I went to the wedding of a junior colleague from work, only for the bride to say, "People with a low education and who are poor should sever ties with my husband." She was looking down on me because I dropped out of school. Rather than stopping her, my colleague, the groom, joined her in mocking me. I decided then and there to cut them out of my life and reach out to someone. Get ready, because I'm going to make you regret ever judging people solely on their education. My name is Godwin, and I'm 32. I was raised in an average family, neither rich nor poor, the only son of working parents. What sets me apart is that while most of my classmates were thinking about high school, I was frantically searching for a job. Both of my parents are college graduates, but I was eager to start working as soon as possible. At first, they were confused but eventually supported me, saying it's my life to live as I see fit. I first worked as a factory laborer in my hometown, then switched jobs to become a painting contractor site supervisor. Now, I've been employed at a publicly traded major machinery manufacturer for 7 years. I'm a service department manager, visiting clients to handle machinery installation, repairs, and maintenance. Today, I have another round of repairs and maintenance visits planned. As I drive toward the freeway in the company car, my work cell phone rings. Seeing the displayed company name, my mood sinks a little. Not again. I pull over and call back immediately, only to find out it's another complaint from a client. I apologize. I'll be there right away, okay? I bow my head, apologetically, phone in hand, even though the person on the other end can't see me. Now, I have to rearrange my schedule to handle this complaint first. It's going to be a long day. After 7 p.m., I return to the branch office and find Theodore from my service department already back, chatting happily with a colleague from sales. "I'm back." "Good job." Noticing me, Theodore quickly heads back to his seat and starts working on his computer. Each branch office in various regions is staffed by a small team and overseen by an area manager. In this branch, it's just Theodore, who is 2 years younger than me, and myself in the service department. "Hey, Theodore, got a minute?" "What is it?" You could hear the irritation in his voice. "Got a complaint from one of your clients this morning. I went and fixed it myself, but we're both going tomorrow to apologize." "Why did you leave it unattended for 2 days?" "I had plans both days. The CEO over there is always bossing me around. Maybe they should rethink how they treat me." As usual, all that comes out of Theodore's mouth are excuses and complaints about the client. "I'm reporting this to the area manager." I had to step in and fix a client's issue, of course. I had to report it. Yet, Theodore, without any remorse, snorts and says, "So you're ratting on me again, just because you're jealous of my education. You exaggerated things in your reports." He thinks I, a college dropout, I'm jealous of him? I graduate from a prestigious university. Theodore used to be this polite, humble, and adorable junior. But the moment he found out I was a dropout, his attitude changed entirely. I wouldn't mind if he did his job correctly, but there are too many complaints from his clients, and it's a headache. The next day, we both go to the client to apologize. "What are you doing here now? Your job is to fix this." The president of the client company is aggressive with his words, but it's not uncommon for people in industrial settings. I'm used to it, but Theodore, with no field experience, stands there saying nothing. After calming the angry client and discussing future improvements, Theodore finally mutters a soft, "I'm sorry." I thought he'd be feeling down on the ride back, but I was wrong. "Why are field workers so uncivilized?" Instead of showing any remorse, Theodore was back to bashing the client. "That CEO pretty much advertises his lack of education with the way he talks. It was embarrassing to witness. Who made the client that angry? Maybe you should reflect on your work. My words fall on deaf ears. You're just out of touch because you've worked in those environments. Even so, if you're going to be in this line of work, you have to get used to it. Theodore laughs mockingly. What are you talking about? I only took this job to gain some mechanical knowledge. I don't plan on sticking around. Typically, people like Theodore would spend 2 years in service, then move to sales. But he's been here for 3 years. Nobody's going to move a guy with so many complaints to a sales position. He genuinely believes the bad reports are all because of me being jealous. If that's the case, all the more reason to get good at your service job. Show some sincerity to the client. Sincerity? When his attitude is that bad? There's no sincerity to talk about. Maybe it wouldn't bother me if he was on the same level as me, professionally speaking. I couldn't bring myself to say another word to Theodore. One day, I was on a business trip to set up some machinery. The test run didn't go as planned due to some glitches, so I had to stay overnight to fix it the next day. We had limited staff at the branch, so when major tasks like this came up, other local branches would help out. As I was looking for a place to eat near the hotel, someone called out to me, "Hey, what are you up to?" Turning around, there stood Theodore, arm in arm with a woman. "Oh, hey, Theodore, good evening." I greeted the woman beside him and offered a handshake, which she accepted without a word. "This is my girlfriend, Selena. She's from around here." I felt like I had seen her somewhere before, but I didn't dwell on it. Theodore invited me to dinner, and I accepted. After ordering, Theodore started to gloat. "Actually, we just got engaged. She graduated from the same college as me, and her family is quite wealthy locally, and definitely on a fast track to success." That explained the dinner invitation. He wanted to show off his fiancée. As for Selena, she barely acknowledged me, not making eye contact and offering only occasional nods to Theodore. Dinner ended with Theodore dominating the conversation. When it was time to go, he excused himself to go to the restroom. Left alone with Selena, she broke the silence. "I've heard quite a bit about you from Theodore." Her eyes locked onto mine as she spoke with a certain coldness. I could tell Theodore had been bad-mouthing me. "You think your managerial role is a big deal? Just because you've been at the company a few years longer? Could you please stop blocking Theodore's career?" Certainly, the position of manager is something anyone can achieve through years of service and performance evaluations. And our direct boss is the area manager. For Theodore, I'm just a senior colleague, which isn't incorrect. Deciding it was futile to argue, I let it go. Theodore soon returned and wouldn't make eye contact, pretending like nothing happened. As I was leaving, I asked him about work for tomorrow, and he said he'd be helping out at this branch. Something felt off, but I didn't say anything because she was there. The next day, I went to troubleshoot a test run as planned, but Theodore never showed up. I felt uneasy, so I discreetly consulted the area manager and had him look into Theodore's business trip application. Turns out, on the day I met Theodore and his girlfriend, they were supposed to be on a business trip that involved an overnight stay. This was a clear false claim. The area manager asked to handle the rest, so I left it to them. Sometime later, the date for Theodore and his girlfriend's wedding was set. I wasn't invited and felt relieved. But a week before the ceremony, the area manager asked me to attend in their place. They were supposed to give the main speech but couldn't make it, so they asked me to do it. I initially declined, but accepted when they said they had showed up later. On the wedding day, I arrived early and bumped into Theodore and his girlfriend on my way to the waiting room. They looked surprised to see me. "You know, my elite friends and I all have degrees from prestigious universities and work in top-tier companies. I didn't think you, a dropout, would fit in, so we didn't invite you." Theodore scoffed. "I was asked to speak on behalf of the area manager who will be late. Once they arrive, I leave," I replied. The color drained from their faces.
Are you trying to embarrass me by having a dropout give a speech? If the area manager can't make it, there's no need for a speech.
Leave now, Theodore commanded. Cut ties with my husband. You, uneducated pauper, his girlfriend chimed in. They laughed haughtily and walked into the waiting room, leaving me stunned. A new emotion welled up and my whole body started trembling. If they want to sever ties, then so be it. I stayed under the radar and waited for my turn to speak. Finally, it was my turn. I took a deep breath and stepped up to the mic. Though Theodore and his girlfriend glared, urging me to leave, I started my speech unfazed. Congratulations on your wedding. If you thought I'd stick to usual pleasantries, you're mistaken. Theodore isn't exactly commendable in his job, but this is a celebratory occasion, so I must use only the highest praises. Top tier graduate, Theodore. You are exceptional in accumulating customer complaints at work. Your unrepentant and arrogant behavior, always blaming our clients, really showcases your thick skin. I'm always impressed.
Stop it now!
She stands up beside a flustered Theodore and shouts, overtaken by rage. You're supposed to cut ties with Theodore! Quit bullying him! The room starts buzzing, but I continue my speech unfazed. Our Ivy League grad Theodore is quite the trickster. He's been lying about business trips to go hang out with her and claiming expenses for it? That's pretty bold and clear embezzlement.
Hey, cut it out! You're making this up!
Theodore shouts red-faced and starts coming towards me. She also stands up and screams. What's your evidence for all of this? Are you insane? The room descends into chaos, prompting the MC to nervously ask me to stop. I thought, maybe this is as far as it goes. At that moment, the door swings open with a bang. The ones who entered the now silent room were the area manager and the president of the client company. She goes pale when she sees the president heading straight for the bride and groom's table.
So, you're lying about wanting to quit your job to marry me was a lie?
Turns out, she had been working as a hostess at the club. I recognized her because I was once told at the club that she was the one I was supposed to marry. I had contacted the area manager to bring the president after realizing her true identity in her dressed-up appearance.
I lent you money to quit your job and pay off your debt. Then you disappeared and planned to marry someone else?
That is... She couldn't come up with any excuses when faced with the calm president. Even Theodore didn't know about her working in the hostess club. He storms back to her and confronts her.
What is going on?
She snaps back. You act all elite, but you are a no-good criminal. Even worse than a dropout.
That dropout's just jealous of me. It's all lies.
The area manager quietly stands in front of the shouting Theodore. We have evidence of your actions, and we'll be reporting them to headquarters. You'll be suspended until a decision is made. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Theodore stands there, his face ashen. The president says to her, We'll be speaking through lawyers from now on. The once defiant woman breaks down in tears. The MC wisely suspends the ceremony and the guests are asked to leave. I leave the scene with the area manager and the president. Rumor has it that Theodore and she had planned to get their marriage certificate after the ceremony, but now it's off. Both families are blaming each other and fighting over the wedding costs. Theodore was fired for misconduct, and they're calculating the exact amount he embezzled for restitution. The only thing that stings a bit is that the area manager also received a pay cut for poor supervision of his subordinates. Theodore had timed his business trips to coincide with days when major tasks like machine installments were happening, and the area manager had approved these trips. As for the woman facing fraud charges from the CEO for her sham marriage, she'll likely be tied up in court for a while. Of course, I've cut ties with Theodore and haven't spoken to him since that day. As for me, I'm just going to continue living my life with my head held high.